My brother dropped off his affair child at my doorstep and told me to give her up for adoption, but I decide to raise her myself. Years later, she says it's time and we both make sure that my brother suffers for the rest of his life. Hi, guys. I'm a little confused about something and really need your help. I guess I'm looking for some advice. I'm aware that this problem may be above Reddit's pay grade, but I still wanted your opinion on it. So here goes nothing. I will try to be as brief as possible, but this is going to be a long post. I, 34 male, have been raising my niece Maya, 16 female, for the last 10 years. She's actually my brother Ken's 40 male child. No, he's not dead. He's very much alive. Ken is not raising Maya because he didn't want to. Why? Because Maya isn't a fair child. Some background here is needed, I guess. Ken was married to his wife for 7 years before they divorced. They married right after college and were college sweethearts. The marriage seemed perfect, and two of them were happy together. However, their marriage suffered a lot because Ken's wife had a hard time getting pregnant. They went through fertility treatments and did everything possible to have a child together. It was a very stressful time in their lives and we all saw them suffer. Ken's wife had multiple failed IVFs and which really wrecked her from inside. But what ultimately destroyed her was when she found out that Ken had cheated on her. She found out in the most horrible way possible. One day, CPS randomly showed up with a 6-year-old girl and told her that she was Ken's daughter. As much as we didn't want to believe it, the fact was that she was his. Maya's birth certificate stated Ken as the father and he had been paying child support to her mother every month. He even visited Mayer, so she knew he was her father. But none of us knew that Mayer existed. We only found out because Mayer's mother passed away in a drunk driving accident and her family didn't want to take Mayer in, so she was sent to Ken. You can only imagine what happened after all this came out. Ken's wife was devastated and immediately left the house. Ken tried his best to win his wife back, but she was adamant that she wanted a divorce. Ken, instead of concentrating on raising his daughter, started to blame her for breaking up his marriage. Then, out of the blue, he almost dumped Maya on my doorstep and left. Maya was only 6 back then. She was a child who had been scarred by her mom's death, but now her father had abandoned her too. She didn't know me at all, so she was a little wary of me. I was super confused about what to do. I didn't know if I should just call the cops or drag my brother back. I was just 24 when it happened. I didn't feel ready to raise a child, but seeing Maya cry like that, I took her in and comforted her to the best of my abilities. The poor girl was terrified and traumatized. After spending just an hour with her, I knew that there was no way I would return her to Ken. I just couldn't do it. Maya didn't deserve to be forced to stay with someone who clearly didn't want her, and giving her up wasn't an option either. I just couldn't do it, so I decided that I would be raising her on my own. I'm trying to make this post as simple as possible, so it may look like everything was super easy for me. Well, it wasn't. I can't go into too many details because this is already turning out to be a long post anyway. I can tell you that I had to go through hell and back to get legal guardianship of Mayer, taking her in, convincing CPS that I could take care of her, and telling the family what was going on had been tough. We went to court, and the judge tried to force my brother to pay child support. He didn't give me a cent, of course. Maybe I will get some slack for this, but I didn't fight Ken. I didn't feel like it was worth it. I had plenty of money to take care of Maya. I didn't want to waste my time and energy going after him. He had been creating trouble for me anyway. He hated the fact that I decided to raise Maya instead of sending her to foster care. He tried hard to make me give Maya up, but I kept refusing to do it. Ultimately, I had to cut him out of my life for good. Now onto the present issue. I am still Maya's legal guardian, and I must say that Maya has grown up to be a very sweet girl. Sometimes I can't believe how much she has matured and fought with her demons to get over her past. I'm so incredibly proud of her. We are both no contact with Ken, and he hasn't been interested in our life either. So I had a very little idea what Ken was up to until Maya brought it to my notice. One of my cousin's daughters had told Maya that Ken was engaged to someone now. I was a little surprised to know that Maya was keeping tabs on her. She hadn't discussed this with me before. I knew that Ken was married because my mother occasionally stayed in touch with him. I haven't bothered knowing more about this engagement, so I don't know the details about it. Mayer told me that Ken is engaged to someone who has 2 kids under the age of 10. She was someone way younger than him and seemed oblivious to the fact that Mayer exists. Mayer wasn't giving out this information just for the sake of it. She told me all this because she wanted to expose Ken for what he did to her. According to her, it's time for Ken to face some consequences of his actions. I know that Maya had been a little resentful of how Ken had abandoned her. She was young enough to remember everything that happened, so no amount of therapy was able to erase those memories. So Maya has been adamant that she wants to expose Ken. She doesn't want to do anything drastic like making social media posts or something. She's not that juvenile. All she wants to do is reach out to Ken's fiancée and tell her the truth about Ken. Here is my problem with the plan. On one hand, I think Ken's fiancée should know the truth about him. I mean, I would want to know if I was in her place. But on the other hand, I feel like this will be digging up old wounds and will start new problems. I haven't told anyone in the family about what Meyer has been planning because I'm afraid of their reaction. I don't think anyone is going to support it since none of them spoke to Ken's fiancée about his past before. There is also the issue of my mother. I don't think she'll take our side if we decide to actually do this. The only person who knows this is my wife, who's also taking Maya's side. So the two most important people in my life want me to agree to this. What do you guys think I should do? Should I just go ahead and let Maya talk to Ken's fiancée? I'm in such a dilemma right now that I don't know what to do. Some advice would really be appreciated. Edit. Okay. Wow. Some of you have really lost the plot on this. Let me tell you that Maya is a good kid and she is actually pretty sensible. I can say for sure that Maya is not going to do something on her own, and that's why she came to me first. Some of you have been trying to paint Maya as some super vindictive girl who's out to destroy her father's life. Maya isn't like that, and I'm not going to tolerate those comments about her. Yes, she still resents her father, but she is not doing this just to spite him. Maya is a little concerned that Ken has manipulated his fiancée into thinking that he's a great person. That's one major reason why she wants to do it. Over the years, we have both realized that Ken had a habit of manipulating women into believing that he was a great person. Mayer's own mother was an extremely shy, naive girl of 22 when Ken was having an affair with her. Mayer's maternal side maintains that Ken had lied about being divorced and hadn't told the truth till Mayer's mother was pregnant. So, yes, there are a lot of reasons for us to guess that Ken has been deceptive towards his fiancée. Some of you have asked why Ken suddenly went from being a decent dad to Maya to dumping her and asking me to give her up for adoption. Well, his explanation was very simple. He blamed Maya for breaking up his marriage. At that time, he was still actively trying to stop his wife from leaving him. He had this crazy notion that his wife would come back to him if he just got rid of Maya. I don't know how she got this idea because my ex-sister-in-law had made it clear she wouldn't be taking him back. She had nothing against the child. Hell, she had even come by my house to check up on her after hearing what my brother did. Ken simply refused to accept that his cheating had anything to do with his wife leaving him. In his messed up and possibly narcissistic head, Maya was responsible for everything, so he wanted to get rid of her as soon as possible. After his divorce, he just didn't see a point in taking Maya back. He isn't cut out to be a single dad, or that's what he told our mom when she talked to him about it. By that point, I was pretty fed up with Ken. Maya had been through enough and didn't really want to go back to her father anyway. So I just decided to drop the matter and raise Maya as best as I could without taking anything from Ken. There is just so much that has happened during that time. I can't put everything in this post, but it's pretty messed up. That's why I think it would be good for Ken's new fiancée to know the whole truth before she marries him. After all, she has children too. Like I said, I would want to know if I was in that woman's place. Update 1. Thank you so much for your responses to my post. I had written the post out of desperation because I didn't know who to talk to about this. I didn't want to tell my family because I was extremely unsure about their reaction to this. Maya has always seen me as someone who knows it all, so I was a little embarrassed that I didn't have enough confidence to guide her on this matter. My wife, Melissa, 31, female, has seen Maya suffer because she had been my girlfriend when Maya was first brought to me, since she knows what the poor girl went through. So Melissa is biased about her. I wanted some neutral opinion, and I really appreciate the feedback I have received. You guys really confirmed what I knew deep in my heart already. It's unfair that Ken got to walk away scot-free even after he acted like the biggest idiot on the planet. It's also unfair that he is hiding his disturbing past from someone he will be marrying very soon. It's like his first marriage all over again. I don't want Ken to deceive another girl, and this time I will stop him from doing it. A lot of you have told me that you would want to know the truth if you were in the woman's place, and that sealed the decision for me. I'm going to contact Ken's fiancée and tell her the truth. Now listen, I may have agreed to do what Maya wanted, but we will do things a little differently. Maya wanted to be the one to tell the fiancé, but I don't want her in this mess. She's still a minor, and I think it won't be wise to put her in the front line even if she wants to be there. Melissa agreed that I should be the one telling Ken's fiancée the truth, so we sat Maya down and told her what we had decided. No, she didn't blow up at us or anything. Maya agreed to our decision and was fine with the fact that she won't be getting directly involved. I haven't said it enough, but Maya is a good kid. She's not vindictive and doesn't want to ruin Ken's life just to get back at him. Maya's comments about making him pay and her need to teach him a lesson were really out of the left field. Melissa and I were pretty concerned about these comments and talked to Maya about them. Turns out, Maya had been feeling a little down recently. She is a teenager, and it's common for her to start developing angry thoughts at this stage again. Maya has been growing resentful of Ken again after seeing all her friends have loving fathers in their lives. She couldn't believe that Ken could act like such a horrible person and face no consequences for his actions. Maya didn't want to talk to me about her feelings because she thought it would be disrespectful towards me. I don't know where she got this idea. She refused to elaborate on it. Anyway, so she has been venting to her cousin, and that's how she found out about Ken's engagement. Maya admitted that she stalked Ken's fiancée to see if she was just as bad as him. But when she saw that the woman had kids her age, she started to remember her past traumas and felt scared for the kids. From there, she got it into her head that she needed to expose Ken. She has a good heart and is nothing like the angsty teenager some of you are making her out to be. After talking to Maya, me and my wife have decided that we will be sending her back to therapy. I think Maya also understands that some of her old traumas are coming back, and she may need some professional assistance for now. Melissa and I have also looked up Ken's wife since Maya already has her Facebook ID. Melissa decided that she should be the one to send her a text because sometimes women may feel uncomfortable reading or believing texts from strange men. I am not sure if Ken has even mentioned me, so all in all, I'm pretty much a stranger to her. Melissa has sent her a text and just told her that she has some private information about Ken that she should know. Hopefully she will be curious enough to talk to my wife and believers when we expose the truth. My fingers crossed on that one. I will make an update if she responds. Update 2. Hi there, I'm back with a small update. Melissa and I were worried that Ken's fiancée wouldn't reply to her message or maybe talk to Ken instead of hearing us out first. The message was left unread for 2 days, so we were slowly losing hope. Then after 2 days, she read the message and started to talk to my wife. Turns out, she already knew that Ken had a brother who is married. But Ken kept dodging questions about why we don't keep in touch. His fiancée, let's call her Jenny, 28 female, tried hard to make him talk, but he gave her some sob story about how I caused his first divorce. That information immediately sent me into a mad rage. I can't believe he would blame me for his divorce since I didn't have anything to do with it. At that time, I was working a very stressful job and had been busy with work, so I didn't even know about his affair and divorce until a week before he dropped Mayor off at my house. Just hearing how Ken had twisted the truth to protect himself made me realize that I made the right decision in contacting Jenny. Jenny seemed to be a little suspicious of why he wasn't much in contact with his family. Apparently, he wasn't even inviting more than 5 people from the family to his wedding. That made Jenny a little uncomfortable since she had never hid her own past from him. Melissa and I were able to tell Jenny that we have answers to almost all her questions and that we could just meet up to talk about it. Melissa even said that Jenny can take some time to think about it before meeting up with us. But, to our surprise, Jenny immediately agreed and set up a meeting. Melissa and I will be going to meet up with Jenny tomorrow. Maya will be staying at home because we don't feel comfortable taking her with us. She doesn't mind that at all. She's prepared to meet with Jenny if she wants to. For now, she is content being at home and letting us do the talking. She will be starting therapy again from next week. We couldn't get an appointment earlier than that. I see that so many of you have been really supportive of Maya and have been leaving her some lovely messages. I only showed her those nice messages because I didn't want her to see the hate. Well, I didn't have to since she is on Reddit as well and has seen my post. She gave me a cheeky laugh when she said that she already saw my post. Kids these days are so advanced that it has even started to scare me. It also made me realize that Maya isn't that little girl anymore. It's not a good feeling. I feel like she's growing too fast. Anyway, sorry for the rant. Just wanted to give a quick update for those of you who wanted to know what's going on right now. I will definitely come back here after I have a talk with Jenny. Update 3. Melissa and I just returned from our meeting with Jenny. It went well for us, but it definitely didn't go well for Jenny. I don't think she expected such a big reveal when she agreed to meet with us. Yes, she was suspicious, but she had expected some petty drama and not such a big secret. I think you already guessed that she's just as naive as Maya's mother was. And what's worse is that she had her first kid at the same age as Maya's mother. Ken sure has a pattern of going after women who trust easily and are vulnerable. Jenny's actually a very sweet, kind woman. I got that much from her conversation with Melissa on Facebook, but boy, she's extremely oblivious to the fact that Ken is not a good person. I can't even blame her. Ken is a charismatic man when he wants to be. It's not for nothing that he got away with his horrible behavior and even wormed his way back to some of the extended family. Melissa and I sat Jenny down and told her everything about what Ken did. I didn't leave out anything. I told her all about his cheating, hiding his daughter, abandoning her, and not paying child support for her. It came out like a word vomit because I wanted to get it out of me as fast as possible. Thankfully, Jenny was paying close attention to what I was saying, so she pretty much understood how badly Ken was messed up. I saw her face change from that of shock to extreme disbelief. After I was done talking, Jenny remained quiet for several minutes and didn't say anything. I was starting to get afraid that she wasn't believing what I told her, but she was actually too overwhelmed to speak, and when she finally spoke, she burst into tears and thanked us for reaching out to us. She had no idea how much my brother was hiding from her. Jenny was relieved that she knew the full truth before marrying Ken. She didn't say much after this, probably because she had a hard time digesting the information I gave her. So she left soon after. She wanted to take some time to come to terms with what happened. Jenny promised to reach out again once she was in the right headspace to talk and find out more. Melissa and I just got back home, and I sat down to give you guys an update. I really want to thank you all who encouraged me to expose Ken. Jenny really needed to hear the full truth about him. I don't know what will happen in future now, but at least I am glad I could tell Jenny all about Ken. That's it for now. If something happens, I will probably make an update. Update 4. Hi, guys. I'm so sorry I didn't make an update sooner. A lot of things have happened over the last week, and I didn't have time to make an update. Some of you had predicted that things would get bad, but I actually didn't think they would get this bad. Talking to Jenny and exposing Ken was super easy, but what came after was super hard to deal with. Jenny did reach out to us again. She called my wife a day after we had a big conversation. She was still pretty overwhelmed with everything, but requested to meet with Maya. She said that she wanted to talk to her a little if she was willing to. Maya agreed to it and so did we. They didn't actually meet up but talked on a video call. Jenny couldn't believe that Maya actually existed and was such a kind young woman. I guess she needed to see Maya to believe my story completely. Maya also took this opportunity to share her own feelings about his father's abandonment and how she was concerned about Jenny's kids. That's when Jenny broke down and said that she was super scared for her kids as well. Her kids are only 4 years old, so they are very young. Their father passed away when Jenny was pregnant with her youngest. So when Ken came along, she thought that her kids would finally have a good father figure in their lives. When she heard that Ken was actually a horrible father and had abandoned his own child, her dreams of having a wholesome family were completely destroyed. Jenny was truly an emotional mess and told us a lot of things about her own insecurities and worries about her children. It was sad to know that she was exactly like the women that Ken preyed on. My brother is truly a sorry excuse of a man. Jenny was heartbroken, but she was also beating herself up for exposing her children to an irresponsible, manipulative man like Ken. They had been dating for 2 years before Ken proposed to her. Apparently, he had been a little reluctant to meet her kids, but later seemed very nice to them. Now that she knew his true face, she was really blaming herself for almost getting married to someone who had been a bad parent. I say almost married because Jenny has decided to call off the engagement and end things with Ken. Melissa, Maya, and I had a lengthy conversation with Jenny where we collectively assured her that she shouldn't feel so guilty. I mean, I know just how much my brother can manipulate people. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to see that he is a horrible man because he mostly acts all sweet and kind. My wife and I felt really bad for Jenny, so we comforted her as best we could. Even Maya told her that she shouldn't blame herself. After we all had a lengthy talk, Jenny got off the phone before telling us that she would be ending things with Ken soon. I'm glad she informed us because I knew Ken would be mad as hell once he found out what happened. From what my mom tells me, he seems to be really in love with Jenny. He hasn't really been serious with anyone for the last 10 years, but he started to feel like he needed to settle down. That's why he was so fast in proposing to her and was ready to accept her with kids and all. Now, this is where things got really messy. About 2 days after the phone call with Jenny, Ken showed up at my door. I own my house and never moved, so he knew exactly where to find me. He was at my door shouting and yelling at the top of his lungs. He wanted to come inside, but I didn't open the door at all. All I did was talk to him through the Ring doorbell camera and tell him to leave. Well, he didn't like that at all. He kept screaming and yelling outside about how Mayor and I had destroyed his life. He had been trying to settle down, and we ruined everything for him. I didn't think arguing with him would do any good because I could tell he was heavily intoxicated and not in his right mind. He said some truly horrible stuff about me and Maya, which unfortunately, Maya also heard. However, I'm proud that she stayed strong and didn't let it affect her that much. Ken got really aggressive and then tried to kick my door in, and that's when I called the cops on him. When the cops arrived, there was a minor altercation and he got arrested. The days that followed were ones of the hardest days of my life. I got plenty of phone calls from family members who had something to say about this issue. A few took Ken's side, but most of them told me that we did the right thing by telling Jenny. Ken got out on bail, but was told to stay away from me and my family. Mayor Melissa and I applied for a protective order because of the threats that Ken made against us. We are currently in the process of getting it approved, but our lawyers tell us that we have a good chance. Sadly, my mom hasn't really supported what we did and has been harassing both me and Maya ever since Ken got arrested. So for everyone's sake, we have decided to cut contact with her for the time being. If she wants to support her stupid son over her own granddaughter, so be it. Speaking of Maya, she's going to therapy again, as I said. She says that it has been helping a lot and she's able to address her anger towards her dad better in her sessions. I was afraid that Ken's outburst may have scarred her, but she seems to be mostly unaffected by it. Jenny and her kids are staying far, far away from my nutcase of a brother. She has called us and thanked us again and again for helping her. She gives us updates about what she's doing and has been talking to Mayor at times too on social media. All in all, she says that she's lucky she saved herself from lifelong trouble. Things at my home have been a little down since Ken's outburst. I was a little scared and worried about Mayor, and sometimes I tend to get paranoid about her slipping into some sort of depression, like she did when she was young. But I think I don't have to worry about that anymore. Something really sweet happened last night, which actually prompted me to sit down and make this post. Melissa and Maya surprised us. I came home from work to find Maya holding a Costco cake with the words, "Will you adopt me?" written on it. Just thinking about it now is making me cry. Maya told me that I'm her real father and she doesn't care about Ken at all. She wants me to adopt her when possible, even if it happens after she turns 18. It was a highly emotional day for me and the three of us had a nice crying session. I am planning to look into adopting Maya for good now. And since Ken already got what he deserved, Maya, Melissa, and I have decided to close this chapter of our lives and move forward. So this is going to be my last post here. Thank you so much for leaving so many kind comments for me and my family. I hope you guys have a good life, like I'm about to have one from now on.